I pray every night that no one in the city ever has to go through what we're going through. There is no one to help us. We are literally on our own out here trying to fight, and we're not just fighting the gas, we are fighting for our life out here. We don't know what the long term's doing to not just us but our children, the impact that it's going to have. There are no words. Like, it's just devastating. Nobody wants to know about what's going on up here. Like, when it comes to the government, we can't seem to get anyone to listen. Everything gets fobbed off as other reasons. It's really difficult. This is my son Jackson. He is 3 years old. He lives with me. This is my daughter Sky Rose. She is 11 years old. She lives with me. Then we have little Noah. He's only 1. He lives with us. And behind me is Peter. He's 6 and he also lives with me.
A little camera shy.
He's very camera shy.
Well, look,
His nose is bleeding.
I wanted to ask first up, how long since you noticed a change in the kids' health, and I guess the other side of the question is, what made you conclude that the coal seam gas development had something to do with it?
Okay, sure. We moved out here permanently in July last year. We started all becoming very ill around September, beginning of September. So we started eliminating things first. Like if it was flora around us making us sick, medical reasons, everything was discarded. It wasn't any of that. So then we started leaning towards the coal seam gas making us sick, because we'd never been sick prior, and it also made a lot more sense from the time we've lived here. That's the only time we are exactly 1.1 k's from the well.
And what have medical professionals had to tell you about the possible causes for the kids' health problems?
They have no exact answers at this stage. With little Noah, we questioned that one severely because he hemorrhaged in the brain when he was 8 days old, and then ended up with a secondary hydrocephalus, being fluid on the brain. He moved out here in July with us, and he keeps crying, holding his head, screaming, so we know it's a headache. I've queried it with the neurosurgeons constantly and the paediatricians down in Brisbane at the Mater Children's, and they've told us, after reviewing him, doing more scans of the head and tests behind the eyes to see if there's fluid, it is definitely not medical, it is environmental with Noah. The doctors here, I've been in and out constantly. Every week I go with severe headaches. I don't think there's a medication I haven't tried, and they have now told me there is nothing left for me to try. I've written an email to the Honourable Lawrence Springborg. I've not had a reply, surprise. I've contacted QGC. I've told them how sick we all are. They claim that they're concerned for us, but they don't believe it's them making us sick. We believe the well was fired up around June, July last year, just from conversations with people from QGC. And we started getting ill, around September, so I believe it's from that well, definitely. Last week, I've always got a headache, just a constant headache. My kids have always got constant headaches, nosebleeds, rashes, nausea, vomiting. Last week, for 4 days, we were fine, all of us. I had no headache, the kids had no headaches, there were no nosebleeds. On Friday, I got my headache back. Young Jackson was taken to hospital on Friday with a constant all-day nosebleed. His nose had been bleeding all day. So we contacted 13 Health, and they said take him to the hospital. It was logged at the hospital. They couldn't explain it to us. But then I also know when my headache was gone, my husband walked up to the closest well that's near us, and we could hardly hear anything. Normally we can always hear a humming noise. The noise had well, it seemed like it had been wound down because we couldn't hear it for 4 days, and miraculously I had no headache, my daughter wasn't sick. Friday I had to pick her up from school. She became that ill and has been since. Jackson since Friday has had 2 nosebleeds, one being today, and on Friday. My headache's back since Friday. My son came up last Wednesday to visit for a few days. On Friday his kids started with severe diarrhea. They have severe diarrhea up here, so do my children again. It's enormous. We are very depressed. We were like the typical Aussie family. We moved out here. We wanted to live in the clean country air, build a big house for our children. It's impacted us in a way now that we've become, my husband and I and the kids, we're quite depressed. We've got no motivation to continue building. It's split my family. That's the worst of it. Like I said, my son's moved away from me now. I have an 18-year-old son that lives with me. He's actually in Ipswich right now because he can't cope. He has horrendous nosebleeds, headaches, and he just left. He's actually looking at staying down there now. So it's horrendous. I've been up by the doctors up here. If we're that sick, why can't we move? It's not an option. It's financially, you can't do it. To just pick up a family and move, it costs an awful lot of money, and we're not in that situation where we can just up and leave our property that we have. Where do you go? Like, where do you go? There is nowhere to go for us. We're stuck here, and we've got to try to deal with what we have here. And, we don't know what the future's going to hold. It might get to the point where we just simply have to go. But again, where do you go? Right.
Do you have a mortgage on your property?
We are under vendor finance, so we are locked in a contract, a legal contract.
And if you had wanted to sell your property, what's the chances of that happening?
Nobody wants to buy out here. No. We've got no hope of selling out here. No hope at all.